Can cycling really help you to lose weight? Well, if you want the short, pithy answer, that's going to be yes. But if you want something that's a bit more thought through and realistic, that answer is going to be, well, maybe. Take me for example. I've been cycling for over 40 years and I'm still clearly a very heavy chap. Now there's something obviously going on here. At the top of the list has got to be my diet, but then I suppose there are also factors like genetics and metabolism and a few other things that I probably haven't even thought about. The point here is that if cycling alone was enough to make me thin, then the amount of cycling that I do means that I should be stick thin, and clearly I'm not. But having said that, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to work for you. Now, I get plenty of these know-it-all people who come on leaving comments saying things like, yeah, well, losing weight is just a matter of calories in versus calories out. Basically, nutritional accounting. So okay, let's just have a quick look at some of the numbers associated with that theory. If you want to lose 1 pound or 454 grams of body weight, you will have to have a deficit of approximately 3,500 calories. How you do that is entirely up to you. You can either consume 3,500 fewer calories, or you can get on your bike and burn an extra 3,500 calories, or you can do some combination of the two. The problem is that with all theories, it's all fine and dandy if you're conducting some kind of science experiment, but this is the real world and real people. And unfortunately, that's not going to work every single time with every single person in exactly the same way. At the risk of grossly oversimplifying things, left to its own devices, our bodies tend to find their natural levels. So it will have a natural level of appetite, it will have a natural level of the amount of exercise that it wants to do, plus there'll be factors like genetics and metabolism, plus a few other things, and ultimately all that will come together to determine how heavy or how light we are. Now for some people this line is pretty fluid, while for others it can be pretty rigid. But that said, it's possible for anybody to change their line. The rub here though is that the further away from that line you want to deviate, the more drastic a change you're going to have to make. And for some, that is going to be pretty difficult. Let's imagine that you make all of these changes and one morning you step on the bathroom scales to find that you've lost 10 kilos or 20 pounds. You feel fantastic until I, the voice of doom, come along and ask you, so you've lost 10 kilos of what? Fat or muscle mass? Now this always reminds me of a scene in a documentary called Super Size Me by Morgan Spurlock. Basically, if you've never seen it, he tries to live for 30 days eating nothing but McDonald's, and obviously he's monitoring his health and his weight along the way. In this particular scene, I think he's about 2 weeks in, he goes to the doctors for one of his regular checkups, only to discover that he's actually lost weight. Now he doesn't understand this until the doctor explains that what's happened is that he's gained fat, but he's lost muscle mass, and because muscle mass for its size weighs more than fat, the net result is a weight loss. Losing muscle mass is never a good thing. As Morgan Spurlock discovered, once you do lose it, it becomes replaced by fat, and when you start eating normally again, that fat becomes incredibly difficult to shift. So how does cycling fit in here, and can it really help you to lose weight? Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that in my experience, cycling alone can only help you lose weight if you eat fairly healthily, or it will be an aid to you losing weight if you make a healthy change to your diet. I think one of the mistakes we're making is losing sight of the bigger picture. Being thin or at the ideal body weight is just one aspect of our general well-being. The others include things like being healthy, being fit, and even things like mental health. The problem here is that none of these phrases are mutually inclusive. Obviously, the holy grail here is to be at your ideal weight, fit, healthy and happy. But just because you may be one of those things, it doesn't necessarily mean that the other three will follow. For example, it's perfectly possible to be at your ideal weight while at the same time being fairly unfit and fairly unhealthy. And equally, you could have somebody like a rugby player or a bodybuilder who will be way above their recommended body weight and even morbidly obese according to their BMI scale, yet still be incredibly fit and fairly healthy. If all you're interested in is losing weight, then I would strongly suggest paying very close attention to your diet first. This also explains why I personally have never lost a significant amount of weight, despite over 40 years of cycling. Basically, I've not been prepared to make a significant change to my diet. If, however, you want to improve your fitness, cycling is most definitely the way to go. Up to a point, I would also argue that being thin is also a vanity issue. Yes, okay, the more overweight you are, the more you run the risk of getting things like high blood pressure, heart disease and certain cancers. But I think we need to kind of draw the line somewhere. Do you want to be thin because you want to look good, or do you want to be thin because you want to be healthier? In conclusion, yes, cycling can help you to lose weight, but bear in mind it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. You can go out and create that 3,500 calorie deficit, and if you're lucky, you'll lose that kilo of body weight. If not, you might not lose anything at all. There are plenty of things going on here, and it's not just a question of simple calories in versus calories out. But the thing you need to remember is that the benefits of cycling don't just end with weight loss. It's also a fantastic way of getting fit, improving your physical and mental health and general well-being. Thanks for watching.